Hello, this is All Systems Go Home, the All Systems Go podcast experience. I'm Jeremy Farbman, and I've got detailed notes, detailed questions prepared. This is real journalism now. This is the All Systems Go podcast, as we said, which means we get to hang out with wonderful people, like going from the bottom up, the irreplaceable Kyle Eads.
Oh, I'm irreplaceable? I mean, I'd agree with that.
The unstoppable Dan Snyder.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I get great gas mileage. Unstoppable indeed.
The overwork Nicole Jones.
Hi, I work like almost 40 hours a week.
Indeed.
Job.
And the beloved Darian Bolin.
Oh, beloved. That's a lot of pressure placed on me. I'm scared.
Well, don't worry, because we've got an even more special guest joining us for the first time. Potentially the last time, depending on how things go, but let's try to stay optimistic. We have TV2's very own big boss, Alex Gray.
Yay!
Yeah. No relation to Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid.
Correct.
Metal Girl Solid.
Metal Girl Solid.
Alex, thank you for agreeing to speak with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, I'm glad. I know we're certainly excited to have you. I don't know. I think I speak for everyone here. When we found out you would be becoming the general manager, is that's what? Yeah, the general manager of TV2. We were all really looking forward to it. Very excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited, guys. I'm not excited to come back to school with social distancing guidelines. The newsroom's going to look like ass, but everything else, it's going to be fantastic.
So is it going to be just like, instead of trash all over the place, just like 10 different little dumpsters everywhere scattered about?
Honestly, it's going to be like single, like we're not going to have like, I think we're getting rid of the couches and stuff. I think we're also getting rid of like the big table that's in the what's it called?
The middle?
No, we're doing that.
In the conference room?
In the conference room. Not the conference room, but what is it called? The fish bowl?
Yeah, the fish bowl.
They're gonna make three. They're gonna see if we can just make three separate like little things, but like people aren't gonna be able to have actual meetings in there because like there's no way to be 6 feet apart.
You know, you just need to make everybody in the newsroom wear like hula hoops, oversized hula hoops around their like belts. You like get some suspenders, attach them to gigantic hula hoops with a 6-foot radius. Just have everybody wear those on their shoulders.
Honestly, I'd be completely fine with that.
You'd like run into everything.
But like, how fun would that be? It'd be like a human bumper car.
Are the doors even like wide enough for anyone to fit through the doors?
Like do it sideways.
We can knock some stuff
when you go through
down.
doors.
It's no problem.
Do a cartwheel in the middle and then you'll get in.
Alex, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jordan a few weeks ago. What was the inspiration for you to go after leadership like this in the TV2 organization? I know it, like
I've actually wanted to be GM since my freshman year.
Damn.
Big aspirations.
So all of the things that I've done has kind of to like prepare me hopefully for this role. I mean, of course, I didn't think that I was going to get the role during a pandemic, but here we are. But yeah, I've always wanted to do it. I've seen so many other people do it. Some people that I really loved in the role and some people that I thought could have done better. And so I've been working really hard on making sure that like everyone has a voice and I'm going to be an advocate for everybody because that's like my favorite thing to be in the world. And yeah.
So that's why how do you be an advocate for people? Because, you know, it's one thing to say it. I mean, I'm not trying to doubt you here, but I'm just curious, like what is your leadership style going to look like?
Do what I say or you're lit on fire.
Could you imagine? Advocacy. I'll light you on fire.
When everybody has a voice, no one does. Now do what I say.
Woo! No.
Yeah. She just has a flamethrower in her office.
Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna do like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna just take the things that I did as programming director last year and kind of implement them throughout the entire place. So like making sure that I'm checking in with everyone, making sure I'm not like overstepping my bounds, like because everyone who is a part of TV2 is completely capable of doing what their job is, which I think is something that you can't say a lot of the time. In a lot of different professional settings and non-professional settings, like there are so many people that you might go out and see, like the manager at McDonald's probably shouldn't be the manager of the McDonald's, but like he is for some reason, and we don't know why. But like I've never felt, especially like last semester and now coming into like this semester, that I think everyone who has like a position deserves the position that they have. Which makes it completely easier on me because then I can just trust you all. And then all I really need to do is like fight with like the adults about the budget and say, hey, no, like these people deserve to get paid, please. Because we unfortunately still don't have our budget because the school doesn't know what's going on, as we all could see through the emails they keep sending us.
Say 7, Alex. What's so hard to understand?
If anything,
Shout
those
out to
emails.
hippie chicks.
If anything, those emails have taught me that nothing is ever final with Kent State.
Oh no, and it's not final with any of them. Like they're all like, we're gonna do our best. It's like you're gonna trust a bunch of 21-year-olds and the 19-year-olds that go to Brew House to come back and not go to Barfly or not go to like any of like the places that make Kent good because it's a college town. So like if you don't go to the bars or if you don't go to where else do we go all the time?
Like
if
parties.
you don't go to the Sheets or if you don't go to the parties, it's like
If you don't go to the local gas station, you're not cool.
Sheets is more than a gas station, okay?
Listen here, sir.
Yeah,
Sheets
dude.
is more than a gas station, all right?
It's also a store.
I come from a
For
world
some, it's a
of-
Sheets. For others, it's a home.
Listen, I come from a world where there is no Sheets. I come from a Speedway background, all right? When I found out what Sheets was...
Hold
Wait,
on.
you come from a world without sheets? What do you put on your bed?
Ha ha.
Boo.
I'm sorry.
Going back
Oh,
to
this is-
TV2, when I saw the list of all the executive positions, all the people who would be, producing, directing, all that, it made me very happy because I
We
think
don't have directors yet, but go ahead.
spiritual directors. I think everyone is, like you said, everyone is really prepared and they know how to do their jobs, and God willing, that'll lead to a really innovative and exciting thing of programming.
Yes, because
know.
innovation is definitely what we're going to need this semester. This season.
You guys don't understand how excited I am to see like what entertainment does. Like I don't think you guys get it.
We're gonna
Like,
do a
when-
lot more.
I've already been doing.
Like when like I realized, and what was this in May? When I realized what next semester was probably gonna look like, my first thing was like, okay, yeah, like news, we can figure that out. That's like
Right.
simple. But like I wanna get in deep on what we're gonna do in entertainment. And I came up with like a whole list of ideas and I was like, I'm so excited.
I think that's what has me excited for TV2 next semester is because you're the first GM we've had that I think comes from a background of not just news, but also did a lot of entertainment shows.
Yeah, you weren't
So,
just
like,
handed the power.
So a
No, I
lot
think
of the
there
times,
was one that was an ops manager.
but that's still, I mean, that's not the same because like I've worked with some of the executives and I've watched some of the other executives we've seen. They don't give a hoot about what entertainment does. They're just like, yeah, let them do their thing. Let
I
them
liked
do their
Mitch.
thing.
Yeah,
I
Mitch,
did
Mitch was
too.
good. Mitch was really good.
I liked Mitch, but Mitch just kind of left us on our own.
I think
no,
I think Mitch had quite a bit more nuance than just like leaving us on our own. He was very subtle. He didn't come in there like a dictator.
Yeah.
He, for all the
Yeah, 'cause
listeners
he
who have
did
no
that-
idea who this person was,
Mitch was because the way that Mitch what's the leader called, like the leader that kind of takes the back seat and leads kind of more by example, that's kind
Yeah.
of what he is, because he did the same thing with news. He kind of was like, and which I respected him and I really liked the way that he did that, was that he was like, I put these people, you all in place. so
Right.
that like
Puppet leaders.
like I put you leaders in place to take care of these roles. So like the news director, you're the one, like at the end of the day, you're kind of final call most of the time when it comes to news coverage. Program director, you have final call unless you need me or something. You have final call on this. It was the same thing with sports, and it was the same thing with tech, which was nice.
But Alex, I don't see you realistically taking a backseat on anything. That's just not who you are.
I know. Get ready, everybody. And it's not even going to be like, oh, you should do this. I'm just going to be there like a crying mom. I'm going to be there like, have you seen my kids and like what they're doing?
Are going to like keep pictures of all of the show cast.
I want a TV2 fridge with everyone's picture on it.
Oh my god! I think we're getting rid of the mini fridge.
No,
because like we can't use it because like we can't like one of the things that I was like when I was like doing the budget where because you have to propose one or something, and I was like one of the things they were like, well, do you need like money for like food and stuff? And I was like, no, because we're not going to share food with each other because that can't be allowed, can it?
Oh, you should have said yes.
Well,
you should have said enough for like 200 pounds worth of steak.
Yeah, sharing food was like my number one plan for the semester, but I guess that's shot now.
Yeah, they say that you cannot consume COVID, but they've been changing their minds about quite a few things as of late. So
I think you can eat COVID in a cookie. Kind of like
COVID cookie?
A COVID cookie.
What are those
soundboard when you can have steak once a week? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I would definitely take steak.
Yeah, that's like a nice TV2 steak dinner.
God, could you imagine if we
when
did
this
that?
is all
like,
over, let's do that.
If we all just decided, like, you know what, I'm gonna take $100 out of my pay, and we're all just gonna have steaks every day.
Oh, you have steaks every single day. You better go to like Super Costco and steal everything for $100.
I mean,
we would also
take it for $100. Yeah. That's everybody's paycheck. I think this is the second or third time we've talked about the cost of meat regarding COVID with the price fluctuations. Yeah, a normal steak is like $24 a pound now. Like Jesus. Why are we? I don't know. Anyways,
we are now
we got to chart this stuff. It's important to know.
Jeremy, you are our compass. Direct us, sir.
All right. So, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but from my interaction with you, I think you're something of a Broadway nut.
Oh yeah.
So, I take it that being the case, have you seen the Hamilton movie?
Yeah, I actually did. I saw it yesterday. We have a. Oh, okay. So I'm not at home right now, actually. I'm not in Illinois. I'm in New York. I am lucky enough to have gotten an internship. And even though it's still
lucky.
Wow.
I know. And for some reason, I got a magazine one. The heck?
What?
But you were doing Huru, babe. Well, yeah, but like I have no idea though why I got it, because I did Uhuru, but like I didn't write a lot. I was more of an editor. So like I'm literally looking at them like, you're gonna give this to me? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And it's in New York. Because I'm not gonna say no. They're paying me $15 an hour. I have to say yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so legally I have to say yes, or else I'll get like my leg cut off or something. So I have a lot of family in New York, and so I'm living with my cousin for free. Her and her roommate are letting me stay in a because they have a 3-bedroom.
Life is a Hallmark movie.
I know. I literally, why do you think I'm sometimes happy all the time? I'm like, you know what? Things could really be worse.
Jeez.
But so I'm doing it remotely, and I'm just hoping that like because the internship ends in August, I'm hoping by like the end of July I can at least come in once to the office, hopefully. But if I don't, I don't. But I'm with them, so I saw it with my cousin, and they have they got a projector, I guess, off Amazon. So we went outside and projected it like on the back of someone's like I don't even know what it's called. I think it's just like a storage room kind of thing that's outside. And I watched it, and I was never, when it first came out, I was the one that was like, oh, okay, Hamilton, like who cares? Like I liked the music a lot, but everyone was so hype about it. And I'm a person that likes he did another show before it called In the Heights, and I was obsessed with that show. So it kind of made me, it made me kind of like, everyone was like, oh my God, who is this man? I'm like, you know who it is. Stop. This man right here.
You know who it is.
You know exactly who it is. Don't you try to do this to me. And so I was like, okay, like it's good. And then I watched it and I literally couldn't stop singing. And I kept dancing the entire time. And my cousins were like, Alex. And I was like, I told you what I was going to do before we watched it. I told you I was going to sing every single word. I told you I was going to start crumping. I told you I was going to start high kicking. I told you I was going to start jumping.
You turned into a rocket.
Crumping.
Which song did you crump to?
What is it? I started crumping immediately when Hercules Mulligan came out.
That's fair.
They were like, we got him a smile on the inside. That's right, Hercules Mulligan. I was like,
he's very crumpable.
Singing, dancing, and crumping for the very first time viewing something. I don't know if you realize you just gave it a glowing recommendation.
Oh no, because I love musicals so much, and I love musicals and their music solely because it's not like a thing of like, the only way I can explain it is like alternative music. When I started getting into alternative music, and like a lot of my friends were very, very they were all just very sad, but we were all in middle school, so we didn't know what that meant yet. If you know what I mean. So they were really into like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and stuff. And sometimes it was one of those things where the songs, they were really good, but like sometimes you really had to think about what it was about. And that was the one thing that, even though I loved the music, that was the one thing that I didn't really like about it. With musicals, you know exactly what's going on the entire time because they're like, oh, I'm pooping in the toilet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know exactly what's happening. So I love it so much because my mom does it for a living, but also, and I grew up with it, but also it's just like, you watch these characters and you're literally watching them like their inner monologue, which is just through song. So it's really fun. Like, could you imagine being like, I mean, I couldn't for obvious reasons, but could you imagine being a soldier in the Revolutionary War and having like Hercules Mulligan like rapping in your head because that's how you
crumping in the middle of the battle?
Like he's trying to like fix his musket and he's
crumping's an aggressive dance, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good core workout.
He fights by crumping. Like when he gets into hand, he just starts crumping and just hits him.
So Kyle, are you a big fan of the show as well?
Oh, yeah, even more so than, Alex said she wasn't the biggest fan at first. To me, it took me a while because when Hamilton became popular, was right when I started getting into theater, musical theater especially. I was late to the theater kid game. And so in a kind of similar way, I put off listening to it because it was the only thing anyone was telling me about. So I waited, and it was like maybe a year and a half after like the soundtrack came out. I'm like, I'll finally give it a listen. I'll study whatever. And I listened to it all in one night, and it was just like, this is huge. This is something I've never heard before from the theater.
So what are some of the differences when you're in a theater, like watching it happen live versus you're watching a edited movie cut of it?
So you
pay more money for the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I think in the theater,
Kyle, have you seen something in the theater?
Oh, yes. I've seen Taming of the Shrew.
Saw the Avengers.
Not on Broadway because poor Cleveland kid. I've went to Cleveland, which has a pretty strong.
They're strong.
Yeah, theater program of its own. But I've seen Little Shop of Horrors, Taming of the Shrew, just a handful of things. Nothing major. I wish I've seen more, but no, I know I can't really speak to Hamilton in the theater just because that was so hard to get into and still is. I think just differences between the movie and like watching it happen, you are so more invested in the character, and seeing them act out how their like emotions are, because in just listening to it, you can't, like, you have an idea of what they look like, but you don't feel it as much, and it's so much more impactful watching them act it out and watching just the subtle nuances, because that's a really big part of theater that no one really, it's hard to appreciate just listening to something.
If I may ask, as somebody who has a pretty reasonable amount of theatrical productions under their belt, I know nothing about Hamilton. What sets it aside? What really makes it stand out?
It really is just like Lin-Manuel Miranda's like lyricism is right now, like it is unmatched at this moment in time. And unfortunately, there's probably people who might pass him or whatever, who unfortunately just don't have the chance to, because Broadway is such a very white classist thing, which is why so many people unfortunately couldn't see Hamilton. And now you're seeing, especially because of this new revolution that's happening, there are producers and stuff that have literally made it their goal to have cheaper tickets on certain days. There was one director of a play that happened last year, a slave play, which was really good. And he literally had blackout days, so the entire audience were people of color. And he also had all of his rich friends buy tickets and then purposefully not come, so then people could buy them for cheaper to go. And so like you can see that stuff changing. But like Lin-Manuel Miranda's lyricism and just the way that he puts together, like the fact that the musical itself took over like 5 years for him to make, can I think stand the test of like he really tried to like understand the character of himself. And like even though like Hamilton wasn't the best in real life, like all the people that they did weren't the best in real life because it was 1776,
right?
Hamilton was technically an immigrant, and Lynn felt a connection with that because that's how he got to where he is. He wrote his way out in a sense, and he kept writing and he kept doing that stuff. But it's just interesting, especially if you've listened to a lot of his work, to see the different nuances that he continues to put in each and every one of his works. Like you can like if you listen to the soundtrack of Hamilton, you can hear some of Moana in there. If you listen to some of what In the Heights,
21 Jump Street,
21 Jump Street, and also what is the
21 Jump Street? Sorry,
what is the
yeah? What did Lin-Manuel Miranda do with 21 Jump Street?
It's weird.
It's not Jump Street. It's So it's a short, like a 5-song like little musical that he did for some sort of showcase or whatever. And it's another based on a true story about a high school kid who falls in love with an undercover detective who is a part of a drug scam in schools, and she's trying to break it up. It's really good. And
boy, oh boy,
that's really good.
That sounds like 21 Jump Street.
It is, which is 10 Chump Street, which is why the name.
Okay, fair enough.
It's Bring It On. He did some of the music. Bring It On, the music.
The movie?
Right? No, just the musical version of it.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Could you imagine? No, but
I might have lost a little bit of respect, but no, okay.
But he, like, if you listen to some of those soundtracks, you can hear like, oh my god, like he used the same vamp here. It's the same thing with Sondheim musicals, if anyone knows what that even means.
Yeah.
Where like some of Sondheim, you can hear the different vamps and the different musicalities that he literally puts in every single show, which could be a reason why people love him and also why the people also hate him. But I definitely, I mean, it's true. But I definitely recommend listening to it because it's way different than what, especially in 2015, it's way different than what a lot of people were churning out. And even now, even though it is getting well-needed criticism because it's art and art always needs criticism. It's way different than what we are even seeing today.
So the last question I want to ask about this topic is, obviously Hamilton really hit the mainstream in a way that not many of these shows do. Like Kyle said, it was everywhere. People are hyping it up. Now it's getting a bit of a second wind. So my question is, do you think there will be an opportunity for another show down the line to have this same level of notoriety and success in the public consciousness, or was this sort of a flash in the pan?
Oh no, like I think it's going to happen, because I think the same thing happened with
Dear Evan Hansen.
Dear Evan Hansen. It happened with Dear Evan Hansen. It also happened with something Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera is still on Broadway. Wicked is still on Broadway. The Lion King
is still on Broadway.
The Lion King
Cats is not on
poppin'.
Broadway.
Oh, it's not.
The Lion King has been on Broadway for like over like 70 something years, I think, or not, but almost like 50 years.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's like the best-selling show.
Right. So it'll definitely, I don't know if it'll stay completely on Broadway, because I think especially now that more people of color, Black people, LGBTQ plus people are starting to say, hey, like, we've had these ideas, but white producers aren't giving us the money. I think now more people are going to start giving the money because of the disparities are so far in between of like a good show, a really good new show, and something that just got made up just to make money. It's the same thing, I think, with the film industry, where it's like you can have a really amazing like idea and it's a risk, or you can do another sequel. It's the same thing. Like I don't know if anybody has watched the movie Tootsie, or even better, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh yes, Mrs. Doubtfire. What's Tootsie about? Why does that sound so familiar?
Tootsie is basically the same thing. It's the guy from The Graduate, and
Hoffman.
Yeah, and he's an actor, and he's very he's not getting roles, and so he decides that he's going to dress in drag to get roles.
I remember the premise of this. Yes,
because it's the same as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They made both Mrs. Doubtfire and Tootsie into musicals, and both went to the Tonys, and everyone was like, "Why?" When there's so many like original ideas that can't even make it past 3 months off Broadway before they're shut down because they're not, quote unquote, making enough money for the person's liking.
Oh, there you go. You're wondering why it didn't garner enough attention. It's because people are already familiar with this property, and that's the reason why it garners so much attention. It's like, if you loved Robin Williams or Dustin Hoffman in this role, you're going to love the live theatrical performance.
We're seeing the same sort of stuff happen in Hollywood and gaming, which like we usually talk about those industries on this show. And it's like, we always talk about sequels and reboots and reworkings, revivals. Like that, the producers always want to go with what they see as a surefire thing, even if there's no creative merit whatsoever to it existing, and it actively harms the original property because by association,
right?
And
it's so upsetting because if anyone is really hurt by it, it's not only the fans, but it's the people who have to like work. Like people are like with the whole like Broadway shutting down until next year thing, which I'm still like upset about, and I have to like think about it like for an hour every day because I'm sad about it.
Going through withdrawal.
Oh, I literally like cried, I think.
Especially because you're in the city.
You're right. Right. No, listen, I'm the person that's there at 8 a.m. to get like cheap tickets. Like that's what I did for like 2 weeks during winter break. And I saw like 7 shows.
Insert the Eric Andre, let me in meme right here.
No, but I think that like people started blaming the actual actors for not going back on stage so that they could see the show. And it's like,
what?
we don't have like the actors don't have the control here. They get paid less than like, or even maybe equal to a Starbucks employee if they're not, even sometimes if they're union. So why are you blaming us?
Yeah.
And
well,
so
that's just the public perception. I mean, they honestly can't see past somebody playing a character. So obviously, if they don't like the character, then they're obviously not going to like the individual that played them.
It just sucks because it's like it's the people who work the hardest that are getting hurt the most within this. Like people like having these reboots, and like that means that probably means that there's going to be less diversity within it, because it's like, well, Robin Williams was white, so like the person who plays Mrs. Doubtfire probably needs to be white. That doesn't give it gives less opportunities for new ideas and for new people to come through, and to at least for the Broadway production. And then once it goes on tour, all hell sometimes ends up breaking loose. But like it just gives less opportunity, and that ends up hurting the people who are in the industry. Some of these people are paying millions of dollars to go to school for this, and now it's like, oh, well, I can't get cast anything because for some reason I'm not the look, but the look is the same because we're doing all these reboots of old, very tired and a little bit problematic movies.
That's when you just convince the studio that you're applying to hire you instead of whatever the quote unquote image is. It's all about how you work it.
So, Nicole, I know, Alex is getting all the spotlight, rightfully so, but you haven't actually been on the show in over a month, I feel. It's been a while. So
something like that.
It's
why
been
don't
84 years.
1,000 years ago.
So I'm going to give you the floor right now. You can talk about what you want, but if it's boring, just know that we're all going to be sad.
Okay, well then I'll talk about the one that I want to like give the spotlight to, because it's not released yet, but I did play the demo. I don't think you can play it anymore, but it's called Best Friends Forever, and it's just a doggo owner dating sim, which is like I feel like someone made the game for me.
Hang on.
No, okay, come on, Jeremy.
Doggos?
No, but like,
or you date
do you
dog
not like
owners?
dogs?
I don't
Like
like
that?
dating sims.
Yeah, but like it's dogs.
Yeah, that does not make it sound any better.
Are you
don't like
dating the
dogs?
dogs, or are you dating the owners of the dogs?
No, so you are. This isn't hot to full boyfriend. This is you are.
Or both, and then that's a whole other issue.
There's like two games in one.
Are you telling me there's a game where you date dogs out there?
Wait, but
Hot
are
to
you
full
the
boyfriend is a
dog?
game where you date a bird.
Let her
Yeah,
speak.
I swear to God, I'm
Nicole,
trying to explain. Okay, you are a human, and then you adopt a dog. I adopted a Shiba Inu because they're cute, and then you meet other people through a dating app, and they are all dog owners. So, I mean, you get the person and you get the dog. So I chose to go with Felix. He is like a big dude at the library, and he's got a German Shepherd, and he's not like a bad first impression, but then later, I managed to get a kiss from him. So like, there we go. It's like 10 out of 10. Because he has a German Shepherd.
Because you got a kiss.
Wait, if that isn't like life, I got a kiss for him, so like 10 out of 10. I think life's pretty
Is that where
like,
your standards are?
If that isn't like half of the population.
But there is a little more to it. It's more than just visual novel, because you do stuff where like you level up your dog basically, because your dog has some different stats where there's like how well mannered your dog is. If your dog's like a piece of crap and tugs on other dogs, which I constantly have to do with mine. There's fitness, if he's a fit boy. What was there? Trust, how much they like you.
There's
And
attack,
then-
how much they can defend themselves in a fight.
And then how smart they are.
There's
But you
chow,
get to
how
do
big their
things
stomach is.
to- You do things to level them up, because you plan out your week, and then you also like just do like regular stuff where it's like,
Okay.
hey, you feed your dog.
Nicole, can I
drinks.
ask you a question here?
What?
So the majority of the gameplay, is it all about leveling up the stats of your own dog?
It's that and visual novel.
Okay, because I was listening to you and I could not figure out where the dating sim part came in, other than you kissed a guy.
Isn't that
So it's
enough,
visual
though?
novel, and you choose like different things to say to them. It's just dialogue options.
Okay.
Wait, so like if your dog is trash,
Yeah.
does that mean that like the guy, like Felix, will like dump you because
See,
your
here's
dog
the
is
thing. I
trash?
don't know because this is just a demo. I haven't like purposely tried to sabotage my dog because why would I do that?
Okay, you're right.
For science,
That's
Nicole.
yeah.
Wait. So does Felix? Okay, wait. So do you have like is your dog like a girl and Felix' dog is a guy or a girl? I guess it doesn't matter. But, are they also in love?
No, I don't. My
Yo,
dogs
wait a
haven't really
minute.
done it. The dogs haven't really done anything other than like my dog occasionally tugging on other dogs.
The dogs
Oh,
are
so
just
the
an
dogs-
accessory.
Away.
Yeah, the dogs are just a cat.
They're mostly
dare
just an
you.
accessory. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Dogs
then,
are not an
but then
accessory.
also the thing is,
No,
like
they're-
if I see someone with like a trash tier dog, like that just you're out.
Please tell me
Okay.
you walk around in your everyday life looking at people and judging whether you see the dog or not, judging them
That's a
based on
trash
what you
tier
think
dog.
their
you gotta
dog
be-
is
Yeah,
like.
trash tier dog. Because
Yeah.
there's a dude who had
That
an
dog is
Italian.
not in the meta.
He had
Like,
an
I do
Italian
that.
Greyhound, and I don't really like that dog, so I was just like, "Ooh, he's out."
Like you go to do your taxes and it's like this guy probably has like a schnauzer or something like that, and you're just like, nah, screw this guy. But then you get into a car accident with somebody and he like horribly messes up your car, but it's like, I bet that guy has a canine who can run 100-meter dash in about 3 seconds.
That's
And you're just
faster
like,
than Usain Bolt.
That's such a specific like thing about a dog.
Have you never been in that circumstance before?
I
Have you
think we
never
all
looked
have.
at anybody and had these thoughts before about their dog?
I've
So-
never been in a car wreck and then immediately thought about a dog.
But like
Every
that's
single
like,
time,
that's like a
every
thing.
single time.
Every time you get in a car wreck?
Mm-hmm. My first
Go on,
assumption
Alex.
is, does this person own a Chihuahua?
What was Alex saying?
Well,
Alex, go
isn't that like a thing, like a trope that like I guess I've seen it in a lot of movies and stuff used where like the dude will get a dog to get women. So like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
really just like they're like capitalizing on that trope.
It's an accessory.
And they're-
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
So-
he's your
well, I
best
don't wanna-
wingman.
I don't
He's your
wanna
best
call it an
wingman.
accessory. I'll call it a catalyst to bone because then at least like
The
at
jokes
least
write
then
themselves.
The joke can write itself. That should
Yeah.
honestly, it's only a demo, right? That should be the
Yeah.
tagline.
Like, yeah.
Catalyst
I mean,
bone.
he's literally your best man and your wingman, and he's not going to try to hook up with the girl who is helping introduce you to.
So
So,
the
I mean-
reason I don't like dating simulators is because they feel so one-sided most of the time. Where it's like
Oh yeah,
your character is a non-person. They're just it's like some narration boxes and dialogue options, and you're just picking between these poor people and you're manipulating them because you're not forming a relationship with them based on common interest or compatibility. You've decided you just
What kind
want
of
to
dating
get
sims
with
have
this
you played?
person, and you just are picking the correct dialogue options to tell them what they want to hear, so you get the most points and just gamify your relationship that way.
but
This is an amazing soapbox that you're on
is-
right now. I
yeah.
love
is this not
You
like?
know what's even worse? There are people in real life who think that's how dating works.
Every time you're on a date, before you talk, a dialogue box pops up in your mind, and you can just cycle
Yeah.
through all the
You're
options.
like, if I equip this persona, I'll get bonuses.
Exactly.
That's definitely something that people do though. Like if someone's like, "Oh, what's your favorite hobby?" and it's something like weird, I'm not gonna put one in there because I don't want to be like, I don't want someone to be like,
I
"I
like
do that." I'm
collecting
like, "Ah."
stamps. Collecting
Wait,
stamps.
I-
How about that?
Okay. Playing croquet while reciting Shakespeare and firing your gun up into the air while
Right. Like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
you
filing
be like,
that's-
oh,
fraudulent
okay.
charges on your tax
If-
report.
If that if that's like the thing that you're like, oh, this is like, if she was like, what's your favorite hobby? And you were like, oh, this is my actual favorite hobby, but you're like, this hasn't worked for me before, so I'm just gonna say jogging. And then you say jogging. Like you go through the different things of like, what's gonna make me seem not awful or
Well, see,
weird,
that's
and
why
then
you
I'll
have
tell
to.
them later.
That's why you have to like equip the clothing that gives you boost to your speech stats.
Yeah. Plus 5 charisma.
When you
Yeah,
put it that way,
Yes.
I
If you
think
wear-
it's-
if you wear your
Dating is
fancy
just
suit.
D&D.
Wear your nice clothes.
when
Yeah.
when Alex, when you put it like that, it maybe is closer to simulating real dating than I gave it credit for. I wasn't really giving dating enough credit for how like phony and surface level
and
it is.
stupid it is.
Yeah.
No, it's
Can-
very superficial.
Considering we have lost contract of the dogs all entirely, seems a lot more realistic.
There you go.
I don't know, Nicole. I mean, if you want to play it, good for you. I know personally, I feel like dogs in games are such a pander move nowadays.
Yeah.
Like
it's the game anime.
That's okay. But I'm always gonna, like, anytime I'm like outside, and I see a dog, I'll like stop what I'm doing and just be like, dog, and I swear to God, I'm gonna get into like a car accident because I'm staring at a dog.
Hey, what?
Anytime you're outside, anytime you're outside, you are distracted and you will say,
Nicole,
hey,
I think your
look, there's
insurance
the
rates
dog.
just went up.
And a car accident will pursue. Ensue.
We are sending this podcast to your insurance company as we speak.
Yeah, they're gonna have some words. Okay. Well, if that's all we have for the dog sim, Darian, why don't we hop over to you for a spell? Because I see one thing here, but it's one thing I'm interested in. So take it away.
So I sinned and I bought something from the Steam Summer Sale, and that one thing that I bought, the one thing that I bought was Black Mesa, which is like a new, like updated remake of Half-Life, the original Half-Life, and it is very good. I love it.
Is it a remake or a remaster?
It's like remade from the ground up.
Okay, so it's a total overhaul.
Yeah, like it's
Is
still
it within the Half-Life like franchise?
It's not like
it's a long story.
Yeah, like like Valve is aware of it and they did like approve of it, but it's not like the part of the canon.
It's made by fans, but given the official approval.
Yeah.
But they were working on that for like 10 years or something.
Yeah, it was a long time coming, and then it took like 4 years of it just to make the freaking Zen levels.
So Darian, were you a Half-Life fan before, or was this sort of your opportunity to see it in a new light for the first time?
Well, a couple summers ago, during a different Steam Summer Sale, I committed another sin, and I got like the whole Half-Life franchise, and I played through it all.
Darian, I did that last year, and I only played the first one. I still haven't gotten around to all the other ones.
But yeah, I consider myself a fan of the franchise. Like, obviously, it's had like its ups and downs, and when I say ups, I mean Half-Life 2, and when I say downs, I of course mean Half-Life 2 Episode 2. But like, I consider myself a fan of the franchise.
So was this remake, it is a remake. I mean, some areas are sort of lifted directly, but it's pretty much a remake.
Yeah.
Did this sort of recapture some of the same energy that you felt playing the original game?
It kind of did, yeah. Like, Half-Life 1, it's still like a good game, but in some places it does not age the best. And like this new version, it kind of helped you like make better sense of what they were going for. Like, a lot of the vibes are still there, but now they're like more modern, so it's hard to explain. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here.
Has anyone else played either this or the original?
Years and years and years ago, but man, oh man, I gotta say, I played the first one. I completed the first game. I was super happy that I completed it, but I did not see what all the hype was about. Like, for the second and then the inevitably maybe ever released third game. It was a good game. It was a good game.
Half-Life Alyx is kind of like Half-Life 3, or at least like Episode 3.
It's
okay,
close
for the technological boundaries that they leapt over to make that game, considering it's the first Fallout game, or not Fallout, Half-Life game in how long? Like, that should have been Half-Life 3.
I mean, I think it basically is. Like, it's a whole like another story.
It's not. It's the first Half-Life game in like a year and a half. Half-Life Alyx is canon.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Mesa still. I zoned out.
Come on, Kyle.
God.
But so how did you feel about the sort of the balance of it? I mean, how much did they sort of go in and tweak the combat? Because I remember hearing them say something. I don't remember where I heard this, but like they wanted to sort of improve the balance of combat, make it a little more challenging and fair and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not like super far into it. I think I'm on like chapter 3 or 4, the chapter when he like first starts seeing the military, and like the combat still feels like really good. Like, it feels like Half-Life 2-ish kind of, which like in Half-Life 2's combat is like, it's solid. Like I haven't played the first one long enough to know if there's like a big difference between the original Half-Life 1 and this, but it definitely does feel like pretty good.
Sure. How is the voice acting? Because that's one of the best parts of that game.
The voice acting, it's not as like funny.
No.
Because like Half-Life 1, some of those line deliveries are pretty hilarious.
Is this similar to like Resident Evil where they're like, "Watch out, Jeremy"?
Oh, it's so bad in Resident Evil.
Yeah. Like
Is
the
it
original
similar?
Yeah, the original Half-Life has some really funny line reads, and this one it kind of seems like it's smoothed a lot of those out.
Yeah.
But also it is obvious that a lot of like the NPCs have like the same 2 or 3 voice actors because you hear a lot of repeated voices.
Well, in the original game, it was just one or two, so it's still an improvement.
Yeah.
Just the one.
And like
they
sound a lot more. Yeah, they sound a lot more serious now.
That's a real shame, in my opinion. But I'm such a sucker for cheesy voice acting, so I'm for other people it might be an improvement. But yeah, any other thoughts you want to give on this game?
Go play it. Apparently, there's also a multiplayer mode on it, which is I don't think anyone plays.
No, probably not.
It's kind of like Doom multiplayer. It's just kind of rejected and denied by the community.
It's there to be there, but not
kind of like
more.
Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Like the single player just overshadows it so much, and everyone's like, "Oh, Half-Life 2 has multiplayer."
Well, that's actually kind of surprising because Half-Life 2 spawned like a new wave of multiplayer shooters, didn't it?
Yeah, because like that was built on the Source engine, which is for like CS:GO and TF2 and
that Counter-Strike Go, yeah, Global Offense,
Titanfall 2.
You know, I actually have something to say about Titanfall 2. I walked into a Five Below the other day, and I saw Titanfall 2 for $5, and I was like, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen!"
It is so worth it, though. That game is the most undervalued thing on the face of the planet.
Yeah,
I got it for like $7. It's amazing.
Its predecessor really put it in a hole, unfortunately. Like, I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about Titanfall 2. I've never played it. I never played the first one.
Titanfall 2 is my favorite FPS game of all time.
Yeah, I just heard that a lot of people like say if the first one didn't come out, then the second one would have been like 10 times as popular and well known and respected.
It wasn't just the fact that the first one kind of tanked. It was the fact that like the time they released it, the week before it came out was a new Call of Duty, and the week after it came out was new Battlefield.
They screwed that game over so badly with the release.
There are 52 weeks in a year, and they picked the one worst possible year to release a new first-person shooter game.
They really did.
Oh, 1 out of 52 chance, folks. What do you say? Let's roll the dice. Let's release it.
But that campaign is so good in number 2. I hope they go back to it at some point, because I know they've got a lot of projects they're working on at that studio, but
yeah, I mean, I think they mainly focus on Apex Legends for the Titanfall universe right now, which like I'm fine with because Apex Legends is really good. Not knocking it, but like I miss like just pure Titanfall without all the other stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that was that very lovely topic. Now we're going to hop over to Kyle. Kyle, I believe you have something a bit serious to talk about. I don't usually go for like really heavy stuff, but I think there's a good discussion to be had about this. So why don't you go?
Yeah. So I believe it was last Thursday and last Friday. Several prominent members of the Smash community were outed as being not so nice people. A lot of brave people stepped up and shared their own stories about what's happened, how they've been treated by these people. And even yesterday, I know specifically Sky Williams was another one who had some not so savory things said about him. Many of which other people confirmed what happened. And this isn't Smash. It as a community isn't the first one to really be outed. It's just the first prevalent one, I guess, that affects our neck of the woods. And it got so big that with Evo was supposed to be last weekend, and enough games said, hey, that fighting game community right now is super toxic and we don't want to get involved in it.
Yeah, this is also a different issue, which is the sort of president, I believe, of Evo was outed.
Yeah, and the president of Evo was another one as well.
Yeah, so Smash Brothers actually wasn't going to be at Evo this year regardless, because of the online.
Yeah,
format.
That's right.
So I think they go hand in hand, though. I think so. Continue.
Yeah. Several games pulled out of Evo after finding out that the president of Evo was involved in not so savory things. And sorry if I'm talking about beating on this. I don't want to say something incorrect and offend anyone. To say anything correctly, so I'm being pretty vague. If anyone knows a little bit more details and can be more specific, but the important thing is, it's an extremely evolving situation right now, but it's hard to watch because a lot of prominent figures, people that I respected, being a casual fan of fighting games, I'm finding out that they're not good people. So I think the best message I can give right now on this whole situation is something from probably my personal favorite fighting game person. That's known as Alpharad, does a lot of Smash Brothers stuff. And it's simple. Just be good people to each other. This is a crazy, crazy world, a crazy situation we're in. And it's not hard to be a good person. So just be good to each other.
Nicole,
I completely agree. It really doesn't take that much effort, you idiots. Just be nice. You just stop being a bunch of jackasses. Just look at a person and be like, oh, do I want to be treated like that? No. Oh, then there's the answer for how to approach something in your life.
Nicole, I want to ask you about this because I don't think you play a lot of fighting games. You're sort of like me on the outside. But I want to know, did you have the perception that this community was sort of toxic and if you weren't in with it, you were sort of otherized? Because that's sort of the vibe I got with Smash especially.
Well, in terms of Smash, I don't think I heard super great things about them. To be honest, I don't think I've really heard anything good. But I would probably say it's mostly Smash that gets the worst rep. It's really popular, and a lot of people are just like, oh, it's not like a real fighting game as opposed to Mortal Kombat or something like that.
What?
And I think
that's not coming from me.
Who the hell said it's not a real fighting game?
We're not getting into this argument.
Everyone for 10 years.
I think it's more, and this is another reason this became a problem. It's more because it's a game made for children mostly. Nintendo does not care about its fighting game community.
This is what I wanted to get at, Kyle. Thank you for bringing this up, because Nintendo has been so hands off for 20 years with this community that has built itself up out of nothing, because Nintendo was not interested in giving oversight at all. And the result I think you see from this is, whether Nintendo intended to do this or not, it gave rise to this thing where you do have this really toxic community because there's no one overseeing it.
Oh,
yeah. The thing is I did a story on Kent's Smash community and everything, and that community seems nice, but maybe some of the other ones.
So
go ahead, Kyle. I do have one thing to say though, and it'll be very quick.
No, go ahead. Okay,
so Jeremy, you said the Nintendo community has been very hands-off about their fighting.
Nintendo, the company.
Nintendo, the company, has been very hands-off about their fighting games, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nintendo has been very, very hands-off about the games they release because they are so very hands-on. So they have been so very hands-tight on what games they actually allow into their library that when they believe something like a Smash Brothers being a simple fighting game, it could be appropriate for the entire community, they kind of just are hands off, eyes off on how it operates, kind of. So when it comes to the outside community, pouring their toxicity in, they are completely without defense for whatever kind of social controversy that's about to happen.
I agree completely. Yeah.
So I will agree in most part. I think the only exception to that is Pokemon. Because there's Pokemon has become so popular that Nintendo itself does,
That's one of their biggest moneymakers.
Yeah. But it's become so popular that they are still involved with tournaments and games that are run there are other people, like there is a section of the Pokemon community that is unregulated by Nintendo that is competitive mostly, like the Pokemon Showdown community. But I think it's not, yes, it would help if Nintendo was regulating some of these issues, especially with children, which is why a ton of these issues brought up in the first place, because people should not be, you should not have morally, you should not have that many adults supervising kids of that age. It's, unless with, like, it's, that's a whole other bag of words. I'm not going to get into that. But Nintendo should get involved with this, because there are ways, like we see with Pokemon, that this community can be done correctly. Because I think there are a ton of good people in this community that don't want the bad people, they don't want those bad instances to reflect on them. And so they want, but sometimes they can't do enough because I don't know. It's a mess right now.
It was what they grew up with, so they think that it's a wholesome community. And now that they are facing these kinds of expletives, let's just say, they don't know how to handle it, and they were completely unprepared.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is also Nintendo is still, I mean, obviously there's Nintendo of America, but I mean, it is a Japanese company, so they don't have that much experience with some of this kind of stuff.
And they don't seem that willing to learn either.
They don't.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is the main root of the problem, is that they really, the reason in the first place Smash was not going to be at EVO was because their online integration was so bare bones and slapshod that
that's Nintendo.
It just wasn't going to be feasible.
Yeah.
So it's all, by all indications, they're not taking this as seriously as they could and arguably should.
It did become like a big enough like thing on the radar. Nintendo did address what's been going on too, with the instances of, I don't know specific names, but with those major figures in the community, they did address some of them.
Right.
Because something like that, if they didn't address it, people would be like, "Oh wow, does Nintendo support this?"
Yeah.
No, it's more like Nintendo. They don't care about the Smash fighting game community, the fighting game aspect of it, the competitive aspect of it. They just whatever. The last big thing I'll just to touch on is an exclamation point to what we've discussed. Just believe victims. Just because you respect someone and you believe, like, you like them as a person, doesn't mean they're a good person. Just
use your own sensible judgment.
Yeah,
please. You don't have to believe anybody wholeheartedly. Just take what happened into consideration, realize that there are always three sides of a story, and use your best judgment.
And realize that
moving on,
people who come forward really don't have much of a reason to lie, because it's their credibility on the line and their lives. So I think that's why it's important to believe people when they come forward. Okay.
I have something else less dark to talk about if you want.
Please.
Yes, please.
So, in happy news, I've been reading. Working has given me a lot of time to read manga. And specifically one that, because I read My Hero, I'm caught up on that, and I read Haikyuu. But I needed something else to bind me over at work, and I started reading Vigilantes.
Yeah, I can tell because you misspelled it on the sheet.
Listen, Vigilantes is a hard word to spell, okay? And I am not a good speller.
Viglance.
I can pronounce it. That's all that's important.
Isn't that the guy from Ben 10?
Vigilance? Vigilance?
Sure.
Anyway, Vigilantes is takes place in a city outside of, it is canon to My Hero, but it takes place outside and away from UA and the school. I don't know how to pronounce it, the city name, because I'm not good at pronouncing words that aren't English, because anyway.
Yeah, we've established that already, Kyle.
Hell, even if it is in English, I can't pronounce it well sometimes. That's on me. So it takes place in the city with characters that don't have their hero license but still want to do good in their community. And so they fight some low-level crime, and then they get involved with some more serious things, and it is so good. I would contest that it is better than My Hero. I love My Hero, especially the manga. I think it has some cool art, and has allowed the anime to flourish. But I think Vigilantes is more character based because you only have your three main characters. You have Crawler, Pop Step, and Knuckle Duster.
Those are some awesome names, by the way.
Yeah, those are very bad names.
Awesome characters, things. I don't want to spoil anything because where we are right now in the manga is such a cool part. It's only 80 chapters, so it's not that long of a read. I will admit, though, it is a little hard to get into it first because some of the earlier chapters are like 40, 50 pages, which are longer than most. But once you get past like some of the early chapters, it is so good. And also, it probably has my new favorite waifu, Makoto, who her quirk is, she's just a really go-getter person, but her quirk is really cool too because whenever she shakes your hand and asks you a question, she can tell if you're telling the truth or not. And that to me is incredibly handy.
Ha! No pun intended.
Oh, and there wasn't at all. But yeah, I just think and I'll probably have more manga updates. I also try to read Demon Slayer, and Demon Slayer is a whole mess. It is really fast paced, and like I read 20 chapters, and that was a 3-year time frame. It covers 3 years in 20 chapters.
Each chapter was 1 page long.
I mean, I don't know. It's good, but Vigilantes is great. If you're a fan of My Hero, you'll love it. And has one of the coolest character. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a cool moment in some of the more recent chapters that I think is so cool. So yeah, My Hero Vigilantes.
Alex, have you been reading anything lately? Doesn't have to be a comic or just whatever.
Take your time, no rush.
Does that count?
Wait, hold on. What was that?
I've been learning Korean. Does that count?
Sure.
And what's the reason you beginning to trying to learn Korean now?
Stop it.
So she can understand.
You're trying to leave America?
Don't use that tone with me.
It's
sir.
to understand better.
What sort of show do you watch that is in Korean?
Oh no.
So many.
That's the other point I have on these topics.
I accidentally unearthed something sinister.
I watch K-dramas so much. I have a Viki account. That's another reason why like 2 weeks ago I got another Discord because I had one a while ago and then I didn't like it. So I deleted it off my phone, but I re-got it because I'm learning Korean. So now there's other people who are learning Korean across the world. So now I'm talking to them and they're helping me with my grammar.
That's the beauty of modern technology.
But yeah, I'm doing that. And then I'm reading, what is it? The New Jim Crow. I just started reading that. I have a lot of Pan-African books that I need to start reading. But that's what I've been doing.
Neat.
What is your current favorite drama?
Right now I'm watching, and I haven't watched it for a while. I've just been super tired, and I don't feel because when I watch a drama because I don't understand everything yet because there's two different. I don't know about other language. I mean, with other languages in English we have this too, but with Korean specifically, there's your formal speech and then your casual speech. Yeah, and so a lot of
you just add yo at the end.
Yeah, right. But
no, for formal. Continue.
Okay. So I've been learning because you need to learn formal before you learn casual. With any language, it doesn't make sense to learn slang or whatever in English before you learn how to actually talk to another human being. So I still have to really pay attention to the subtitles and my brain has been fried for the past 3 weeks. But right now I'm watching I'll Go to You When the Weather's Fine. One of my favorite actresses is in it.
That doesn't seem like a lot of devotion. That's pretty much a fair weather relationship right there, literally.
Stop it.
It's like I'm not. I want to spend time with you. I really do. But if it's raining outside, if it's raining, like I'll cut me. See you later. You know, I'm not that invested.
And then I started Crash Landing on You, and there's like another one called Mystic Pop Bar on like Netflix that I need to start watching. But yeah, they're so like dumb. Like they're literally just
they're really cheesy.
They're super cheesy, and some of them are really good. Like the last one I watched all the way through, and I actually like because what Netflix is doing now is that they're doing one, they're putting on more variety shows, which is basically just like reality TV shows, which is amazing because the variety shows are funny.
They're so funny.
But also like now what they're doing is they're doing like one episode per week. So like you can't binge, which is an interesting thing because usually with Netflix, like the whole point of it is you binge. But now
they're going for longevity here. Everybody is changing their tactics thanks to COVID.
Right. So I watched like this like because I never really was into Grey's Anatomy, but I've always wanted to watch a medical drama. So I watched one in Korean, and that one was actually really good because it was about like 40-year-olds. So it wasn't like the stupid like teenager like dumb stuff that you see in
Hot
like
doctors.
any. I mean, they were okay, but like, they were just like 40-year-old, and they were just like slice of life. Like all of them like went to the same school together, and they just are friends. And there's stuff that happens, but like it was just fun. Like I like just watching stuff.
It's Korean soap operas, right? It's not like
but like
that's okay. Okay,
like,
I've always been confused on what K-dramas actually are.
Yeah, a lot of them are soap operas nowadays. Like they're of course, like the US and like UK and stuff, like they're much farther in advance when it comes to certain like I think now like in South Korea they're finally doing like God, I don't know what it means or what it's called. Someone's gonna have to help me. But like like how like the technology that like Marvel uses for like their movies.
Oh yes, CGI.
Thank you, CGI. Like they're like now. I have no idea why that like blanked on me, but like now, like you're like, Korean directors are starting to use more of that. Like they're starting to like get to a different place, which is kind of interesting.
So they have huge budgets for these shows. Then it's not like American soap operas where they use the same set like every episode.
Oh yeah, and I honestly think they probably have bigger budgets for the variety shows, because sometimes the variety shows, like I'm watching one right now where literally like these two actors, one speaks Korean and the other one speaks Chinese, so they can't really communicate with each other that well, which is also interesting. They're going around like Asia and Europe, and they have to like do these like the director gives them like, hey, you have to find this, and like it'll give you a clue to find your fan, but you have until 6:00 when the plane leaves for the different country.
Wait,
and so like they have to
what variety show is this, because I want to watch this now.
Oh, it's called Together.
Okay.
Like the number two?
Yeah, the number two.
Because it's like two dudes, and then but it's one word, so two together. There's also a mystery crime solving one that's called Busted, and it's like real actors, and they're trying to solve like crimes that the director and like they like facilitate. Whoa. And so they'll bring people in. It's basically like what is it? Why is everything blanking on me? There's one in Kent, and we went for Megan's birthday.
The
rooms. The
escape room.
It's kind of like a very big escape room, only all throughout Korea, and so they have to drive.
Escape from Korea.
Oh my god! All right, so knowing everything that you just said, but hearing escape rooms and Korea, can we set up a gigantic escape room through North Korea?
So there used to be an American version that is somewhat similar, called, I want to say it was called The Chase, and it was on like Sci-Fi at like 11:00 at night.
That sounds.
But I used to watch it all the time, and basically you were on this like Hollywood like stage, and you would play hide and seek and like there were different challenges and areas you had to go to, to like find a good spot or like to get power ups, like you now can move up like an extra floor to have a better hiding spot.
Right.
But like the people finding you were like world class athletes, like sprinters who could outrun you.
They're starting to do that so much more now, though. Have you guys seen like Ultimate Tag?
Yeah.
Where it's like you have like these like parkourers being the taggers and these random like 9-to-5 workers that are being chased, and it's like they're not gonna win the money.
The Titan Games is another one where it's like pro athletes versus like construction workers who are really fit.
This is the stuff we were talking about where, like, you know, really creative people have a hard time getting their stuff in front of eyes, and then, you know, networks will just approve whatever this crap is.
Right.
They approve the show that don't. Like,
oh yeah.
Every day is video game day for me.
Okay, wait. I have an actual question. Alex, what is your favorite video game?
Tetris.
Good choice.
Hot to Full Boyfriend.
Stop guessing.
Mario Bros.
Damn it.
Mario Bros.
Mario Bros.
Mario Bros.
I DS, but also Wii was really fun as well.
Okay.
Oh, also Wipeout. Wipeout was fun.
Okay, is
Wait,
everybody there?
Wait, which Wipeout?
16?
There was a Wipeout for Wii that like
I
my
thought you were
mom
talking
and I
No,
got.
but is this the
Wipeout.
game show Wipeout or like the F-Zero game?
No, the game show.
Okay, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
no,
thinking.
What was the last video game you played?
It was probably Wipeout.
It was probably
The-
on
the-
Extra
the-
Life at some point, right?
The original MXC knockoff.
God.
Does anyone
Yo,
know what MXC is?
I know what MXC is, man.
My Chemical
MXC is
Romance.
so good.
Thank God.
That's everyone's homework, is to find clips from MXC and watch them and tell me what you think.
Yes, they are all on YouTube. Watch MXC if you've never seen it.
Okay, Dan, go.
All right. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Are y'all ready
Hello,
to join
Dan.
Danimal in a corner here?
Can you believe this is the first episode that Nicole's not going to edit at all?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I'm
You think they're
not
a
even
lot
going to
worse.
send this to her. I'm just going to put it on YouTube by itself.
That's very well you should. It would improve the quality. Wink, wink.
I'm not
So-
totally against that.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, you know I am a very big fan of terrible movies, especially the comedy horror variety.
No,
Oh.
Dan, I'm not going to let you talk about this.
Why not?
Dang.
Sir?
Dan, we need to just move on with our lives. You know, the show's already
Jeremy?
been a moving train wreck. I'm not going to let you talk about this movie.
Jeremy, I have a very important question to ask you. Are you not a fan of girls with Because boy oh boy, if you just go out there into the world and open up your life and you look at your Netflix queue and you just see a movie called Girls with from 2018.
That was on your list or what?
2018.
Oh, yeah, Netflix 2018 first time director Olivier Fresno. You'll find
Fez.
something special.
Everyone loves Olivier Fresno.
Yeah, it's his
Everyone loves
first time
Fez.
directing. I mean, dear Lord, you can't ask for a better movie than Girls with.
You
It
need to-
is.
You need to just not.
Okay, put the name aside. Girls with is a great midnight B movie, or a term that I've never heard of before, a zine movie. Is a great, like, terrible movie to watch. It's a comedy horror movie. Like I said, first time director Olivier Afonso steps up to the bat and he just knocks all of the major common horror comedy tropes out of the park. Hillbilly cannibals versus female volleyball team with their nonsensical coach. It's a great movie to just put on in the background and laugh at with your friends. If you know my movie reviews, it's either going to be extremely niche or something that you just
Oh
have
my
a really good
God.
time with your friends laughing at. Decent cinematography. I honestly, personally can't say anything about the story or the characters, but they got some really desperate actors.
That's the part I care the most about,
So-
Dan.
Yeah.
I was drunk the whole time. Who can pay attention to these things?
It's a good drunk movie to just put on and laugh at with your friends. You only need to pay attention to about like 1/5 of the movie to really truly enjoy it. I am not speaking from experience whatsoever.
Which fifth of it? Like the first fifth or like one of the fifths in the middle?
Just look at the TV every now and then, and that's the amount that you need.
So you talked about. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, it was. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So you're talking about. So I looked up this movie on IMDb.
Yes.
So you talked about the. By the way, 42% on Rotten Tomatoes, much higher than I thought it would be.
Yes.
That's higher than Cat in the Hat.
42 and 22. Tomato meter 42, 22 was audience score.
Wait, who didn't like the Cat in the Hat?
I love the Cat in the Hat. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on.
You need to go back about 8 episodes and rewatch our Cat in the Hat review.
What?
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
No, that doesn't exist.
That movie is.
And they're
Also, you just proved Alex doesn't watch our podcast.
Yeah, no, Alex definitely does not watch our podcast.
I'm sorry, I watched like the first 2 episodes and I stopped.
Oh,
it was about to get good. You watched all the bad ones, and then
yeah. No, our first two episodes were how to run an episode through a pandemic, and we were still in our fighting ground there. But by episode number 3, dear God, girl, you gosh dang missed out.
Yeah,
right,
episode 3 is when we really figured out the lore.
So, we talk. So a lot of times you see directors get positions because they're cinematographers that want to direct. They're actors that want to direct.
They have some kind of previous experience.
Yeah, they're directors with some kind of previous experience. You know what this guy did? This is, like you said, directorial debate. Want to know what else he's done?
Lay it on him.
Did he lose a bet?
He did the makeup effects for movies. Not even good movies.
It's very good.
Did he do a Cat in the Hat? Because that tells me a lot.
Special effects. He's the special effects. Hold on, let me. So his most famous movie that he
makeup?
He special effects makeup department. That was his title.
The department. He wasn't even like the leader. He was just like a random person.
Like I can't even.
No, let Kyle actually reveal this because I had it in my lineup. But say it.
Is for Raw, Lockout, and that's all I see on here.
Yeah, you guys have never seen this. You've never heard of it. It's terrible and it's wonderful. So, anyways, all about girls with bar.
Yep.
Bars. We still haven't gotten to
They're entrepreneurs. They have their own bars.
Yes. Retake. All right. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to a movie called Girls with Balls?
No, you cannot.
No, I'm shutting the door in your face right now.
The show.
I'm shutting the door in my face, and I'm calling 911 right now.
We have the no anime zone, and now we also have the no girls involved.
911. I was watching this movie that involved hillbilly cannibals and a female volleyball team, and I believe it was completely real, including over-the-top violence of just hillbilly inbreds hunting down a French volleyball female team. It's a pretty terrible movie. You guys have already heard its terrible Rotten Tomatoes score with a 42% on its tomato meter, 22% on its audio score. Dear God, I have read...
Audio? You mean audience?
What's that?
You said audio.
Yeah, the audience score is 22.
Are you really going to go after him for that right now, after everything?
You said girls with bar, yeah.
Girls with bars.
We have every time Dan makes a single mistake, we have to just like blast him for it.
Dan, you have 10 more seconds before I'm done.
Please 10, do. It makes me that much
9,
more perfectionist.
8, 7.
It's not even 90 minutes 5, long, and it's really funny 4, and terrible.
3.
Okay, well, under 2, time, he did it.
1.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, so that, do you think we should just cut our losses at this point?
Yeah, I think we're already...
Okay, well,
we're just gonna get rid of the show.
No, we're just getting rid of the dead weight on the show. Bye, Kyle.
We're gonna have some serious investigation. What was that, Kyle?
Well, you said cut the dead weight, so yeah, like I said, we're just gonna get rid of the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
this
every
train
show has
is
a lost
already derailed.
episode.
Let's maybe not light the train on fire.
Why is it my content gets disrailed this episode, not any other episode?
I don't know. You were very yelly today.
Oh,
Yeah, you were pretty yelly.
Dude,
This is what happens when we let Dan go last.
You guys normally say me best for last.
You know, every week we learn something with this show. I think, you know, we take something out of it every time. And this time I think we learned that no amount of preparation can truly prepare you for life.
no amount of prep can prepare you for Dan.
Yeah, nothing can ever prepare you for me in life.
Well, you know, it's like they said in Monty Python, no one expects the Danish Inquisition.
Ha!
Whoa.
Oh. And on that note, it is time
to mute
I'm
Darian.
gonna give him
on
an
that,
extra applause.
on that note, it's time to put us all out of our misery and just, well, yeah, I don't really know where to go from here. I think it's time to end it. I think it's time to thank Alex Gray for being on the most wild episode yet.
Yay.
You know,
Thank you.
I know this is not what you
fun.
signed up for, but I hope you
No,
had
this is
some amount of
exactly
fun.
what I signed up for. This is
Oh, wow.
exactly what I signed up
Aren't
for.
you excited for more of this during
I had
the
fun.
school year?
Yes, I am. I had fun today.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. If you
Kyle,
want,
are you operating a bar in the background? What the hell has been going on this entire episode?
Kyle is a girl with a bar.
yeah, he's a girl with a bar. So if you want to
getting cut.
God, come on. If you want to get in contact with the All Systems Go people, you can tweet at us. We are, I don't know what our handle is, but we know we tweet sometimes.
Professional.
It is at TV2 All Systems Go, I believe. Let me double check.
If
Yeah,
not, tweet at that guy anyway.
At TV2 All Systems Go.
Right. So
Trust me, I know the ad of the Twitter account I run. Don't worry.
So Darian monitors that 24/7. It's plugged into his brain in VR. So, you know, he'll field all your questions. You can also leave a YouTube comment below, pointing at the precise moment where everything went to pot. Once again, I would like to thank everyone for joining me on the call today, and thank you for listening. And
Yes.
hopefully, if everybody, you know, stays cool and we don't all die in the next week, you know, we'll have something. So
Yes. And if you would like to see my 95-minute review of an 80-minute movie, check me out on my second channel. All systems go over there.
All systems
I
go
want
outside.
that now. All systems go away.
We've already trademarked that. That's safe
Yeah.
for our final
I think
episode.
we will go away now. So say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.